Most people looking at homes in Palm Beach County have no idea there's an entire area with A-rated schools, newer construction, and Boca-style communities selling for $200,000 to $400,000 less. And I'm about to show you exactly where it is, what you're actually getting, and why so many of our clients who started in Boca end up buying here instead. In this video, we're going to walk you through three things. First, the one reason West Lake Worth stays under the radar for most buyers and why that's actually working in your favor right now. Second, we'll break down the three development phases because not all West Lake Worth communities are created equal, and knowing which phase you're looking at changes everything. And third, the school zoning reality that catches a lot of families off guard and what we tell our clients to look for before they make an offer. I'm Jonathan with Live South Florida. My team has helped over 1,000 families with their moves in South Florida, whether that's relocating here, moving up, downsizing, or even moving out of the area entirely. And here's what we've learned. Most people start their search in the wrong places, not because those places are bad, but because they don't know about areas like this one. Let me tell you how we even started showing West Lake Worth. Just over 9 years ago, we had a buyer, really nice family, $500,000 budget, completely set on Boca or Delray, new construction, they wanted A-rated schools, the whole package. We toured for 3 weeks, and every single time the same story. Home was too small, too old, or the numbers just didn't work. Finally, I pulled him aside and I said, let me show you something nobody's telling you about. So we drove out here to West Lake Worth, showed them 3 communities, all newer construction, all A-rated zones, and the homes 400 to 500 square feet bigger than anything we'd be looking at. 2 weeks later, they bought in Osprey Oaks. Then the next family bought in Winston Trails, and then Lake Charleston, and it just kept going and going and going. Now here's the crazy part. That pattern kept repeating. We'd start clients in Boca Delray, and 5 out of 10 would end up buying here instead. Some ended up in West Boynton Beach, which I'd say is pretty similar to West Lake Worth. That's when it clicked for us. This wasn't the backup option, it was just the option that most people didn't know existed yet. But here's the first thing that confuses people. When they hear Lake Worth, they immediately think beach town, or they picture downtown Lake Worth, or they assume it's the same as East Lake Worth. Out east, it's called Lake Worth Beach, just to be clear. It's none of those things. And if you don't understand where West Lake Worth actually is and what it's not, you could spend weeks looking in the complete wrong areas. So let me reset the map real quick. When I say West Lake Worth, and I'm not talking about East Lake Worth, the way we define it and the way most buyers experience it is everything west of Military Trail, pushing towards 441 and even a little beyond. You're bordering Boynton Beach, not far from Delray, and in a lot of places, you're right up against Wellington. Here's something most people don't realize. Even though this area carries the Lake Worth name, West Lake Worth is actually unincorporated Palm Beach County. All of it. It's not part of the city of Lake Worth Beach at all. And that explains a lot about why this area feels so different. Honestly, with the size, population, and amount of development out here, it could easily function as its own city. Now, if you're looking for the most variety in West Lake Worth, the widest range of price points, and communities that are all fully mature with established trees, amenities, and that neighborhood feel where people actually know each other, you're looking at communities built during one specific window. This is the era where developers stopped just throwing up houses and started creating actual neighborhoods. We're talking about golf course living, gated estates, active adult communities, family-friendly subdivisions. All of it came online during the same period. And here's what makes phase 1 so interesting. You could buy in a 55 and over community with the resort style clubhouse, or a gated estate neighborhood with $1 million homes, or a family-friendly community with parks and A-rated schools, all within the same few mile radius. This is phase 1, mid-1990s through the mid-2000s. On the family side, they built communities like Lake Charleston, Journey's End, and Smith Farm. For golf, you've got Winston Trails, Atlantic National, and the Fountains Country Club. On the more upscale gated side, they built Isola Bella Estates, and Cedar Creek Ranch, which brought larger homes and that more polished move-up feel to the area. And for active adult buyers, Bellagio and Villaggio came online offering 55 and over living with strong amenities and a real social, community-driven lifestyle. Now, one community worth mentioning that actually belongs in phase 1 but offers strong value today is Lakes of Sherbrooke. There's close to 600 homes, lots of lakefront properties with boat docks. Homes range from about $400,000 to $700,000, making it one of the more affordable waterfront options. And if you're looking for more of that private estate style feel, there's also a cluster of gated communities in this area. You've got Country Cove Estates with 126 custom homes ranging from 700,000 to 2 million. Then just north on 441, there are 3 communities all right next to each other. Thoroughbred Lake Estates with 300 homes and resort style amenities running from 500 to 700,000. Fieldstone with 107 estate homes on preserves and lakes, 700 to 900,000. And Countryside Estates, which is the most exclusive, with 94 Mediterranean style homes ranging from 700,000 to over $1 million. They're all gated, all established, all close to A-rated schools. So just within phase 1 alone, you've got massive variety, all built within the same general time frame. That's one of the reasons West Lake Worth offers so many different options today. Now, if strict HOA rules aren't your thing, West Lake Worth has options for that too. There are 3 communities that have low to minimal HOA with basically no restrictions. These are Legend Lake Estates, Sherbrooke Estates, and Homeland. Legend Lake Estates features larger lots, usually ranging from about half an acre up to a full acre, with a very low HOA that gives you flexibility without the typical restrictions. Sherbrooke Estates takes that even further with 1 to 3 acre lots and a similar minimal HOA setup. Homes here range anywhere from about 1 million up to 4 million depending on the property. And then there's Homeland, which we'll dive deeper into just a second, but it also operates with minimal HOA oversight, giving you that same land and freedom on an even larger scale. These areas attract buyers who want space, privacy, and the ability to do what they want with their property without dealing with strict rules about paint, colors, or landscaping. And they really just show how diverse West Lake Worth actually is. Now, I mentioned Homeland just a second ago, and honestly, it deserves way more than a quick mention because Homeland isn't just low HOA, it's in a completely different category from everything else in West Lake Worth. Homeland is a private, gated equestrian community made up of entirely custom-built homes. There are no production builders here. Every property is unique. A lot of these homes are specifically designed for horse owners with stables, riding arenas, and paddocks right on the property. Lot sizes are substantial. Many homes sit on 4 acres or more, which is extremely rare anywhere in Palm Beach County. Development in Homeland started back in the 1980s and has continued through recent years, so you'll see a wide range of architectural styles, but everything leans custom and high-end. From a pricing standpoint, these are typically the most expensive homes in West Lake Worth, ranging from about 1.5 to 7 million and beyond, really just depending on acreage and equestrian setup. Homeland appeals to a very specific buyer, someone who wants privacy, land, and an equestrian lifestyle while still being close to Wellington, strong schools, and everyday conveniences. It's exclusive, it's quiet, and it's truly in a category of its own. And just so you know, I'm also putting together a separate in-depth video that breaks down all of these communities in detail. We're talking pricing, layouts, and who each one is really best for. So if you want to go deeper on the real estate side, make sure you're subscribed because that video is coming next. Now, if you walked into a phase 1 home and thought, this feels a little dated, or I wish the layout was more open, there's a reason for that, and there's a solution. Because starting around 2012, everything changed. Builders stopped doing massive master plan neighborhoods and started working with smaller parcels of land. That meant boutique communities, modern floor plans, brighter spaces, and layouts designed for how people actually live today, not how they lived back in 2003. These homes feel completely different the second you walk in. They're also newer, which means less maintenance, better energy efficiency, and you're not inheriting someone else's 20-year-old AC system. This is phase 2, 2012 through 2022. Some of the communities that came online during this phase include Talavera, Capistara, Osprey Oaks, Vista Lago, Silverwood Estates, Silverleaf, Gulfstream Preserve, Toscana Isles, the Fields, and Windsong Estates. Now, these neighborhoods generally feel newer than phase 1, but they're still established enough that they don't feel unfinished or transitional. And for a lot of our buyers, phase 2 hits a really nice middle ground. You get modern homes, manageable community size, and still strong value compared to the coastal areas. Now, if you want the absolute newest construction, the highest end finishes, and you're willing to pay for it, there's a very specific type of buyer phase 3 is built for. Because what's going up right now isn't entry-level housing. Almost every new community coming online is luxury. Homes regularly start over $1 million and in many cases go well beyond that, and here's why. Much of the remaining land in West Lake Worth is controlled by Vista, which is Pulte's regional brand in South Florida. That's a big reason why these new communities feel more intentional, more refined, and more upscale than what came before. This is phase 3, what's being built right now. Some of the newer communities people are hearing about include Greyhawk Landing, Hendricks Reserve, Amara, and Whitmore Estates. What this really shows is demand. Builders aren't putting up entry-level housing anymore. They're responding to buyers who want brand new homes, higher-end finishes, and a more elevated lifestyle. Phase 3 isn't about building a lot of homes. It's about building the next version of West Lake Worth. Now, here's the thing that actually unlocks everything else about West Lake Worth. You could have newer homes, great prices, and tons of space, but if the schools aren't there, most families we work with won't even look twice. So let me be direct. West Lake Worth has A-rated schools at every level, elementary, middle, and high school. That consistency is rare, and it's a huge part of why families who start looking in Boca end up buying here instead. But here's what most people don't realize. Not every community in West Lake Worth feeds into the same schools, and if you're not careful about which neighborhood you're looking at, you could end up in a B-rated zone when you thought you were getting A-rated. So let me walk you through what the school system actually looks like here and what we tell our clients to look for before they make an offer. Let's start with elementary because this is where West Lake Worth really separates itself. You've got multiple A-rated elementary schools that have been on the school district's excellent list for 5 years straight. Schools like Panther Run Elementary, Manatee Elementary, and Coral Reef Elementary. Then you've got Discovery Key Elementary and Crystal Lakes Elementary, which are also A-rated and have been on the excellent list for multiple years. And then there's Hidden Oaks, which is a K-8 magnet school, also A-rated. So from the very beginning, families feel like they're starting from a strong place, and that matters. Now, a lot of the areas have strong elementary schools, but then middle school hits and the ratings drop off. That doesn't happen here. As kids move into middle school, the performance stays consistent. Krista McCullough Middle School, Polo Park Middle School, and Emerald Cove Middle School are all A-rated and have been on the excellent list for 5 years. You also have Woodlands Middle School, which is B-rated, but still considered a solid and well-regarded option. So families aren't seeing a drop-off as their kids get older, which is a huge deal. And then at the high school level, West Lake Worth continues to deliver. Wellington High School is A-rated, has been on the excellent list for 5 years and offers magnet programs. Then there's Park Vista Community High School, which is consistently one of the strongest high schools in this entire western corridor, also A-rated, on the excellent list for the past 5 years and also a magnet school. Park Vista covers a very large geographic area, including much of West Boynton, like the Canyons, which is another highly regarded area that often comes up in our buyers' conversations. And because of that wide reach, Park Vista is very well known among relocating families. And then you've got Dr. Joaquin Garcia High School, which is newer, and because it's newer, the ratings are still settling. The school district of Palm Beach County rates it as a B, while some third parties show mixed scores. That being said, it's a beautiful campus. Honestly, it looks more like a college than a high school, and this is where the jury is still out as the school continues to mature. So the big takeaway here, West Lake Worth has A-rated options at every level, elementary, middle, and high school. But not every neighborhood feeds into every school. That's why when we're touring homes with clients, we're not just showing them houses, we're making sure they understand exactly which school zones they're buying into. Because the last thing you want is to think you're getting A-rated schools and then find out after closing that you're zoned for something different. Now, schools are just one piece of the puzzle, because here's what most people don't expect about West Lake Worth: the lifestyle. This area has more parks, more public golf courses, and more kid-focused activities than just about anywhere else in Palm Beach County. And honestly, that's what seals the deal for a lot of our buyers. It's very lifestyle driven, just not in a flashier nightlife focused way. This area is more about space, family life, outdoor activities, and convenience. And for a lot of people, that balance is exactly why they end up here. One thing you can definitely expect in West Lake Worth is a lot of green space. The one that stands out right away is Okehele Park. It's a massive park right in the middle of the area, and it offers way more than most people realize. You've got trails, sports fields, playgrounds, pavilions for parties, water skiing, and a public golf course with 3 separate 9-hole courses. Besides Okehele, you've also got Lake Charleston Park and West Boynton Park. Those have playgrounds, open fields, courts, and West Boynton Park also has an outdoor skating rink and a skate park with ramps, which is a big hit with the older kids. Then there's John Prince Park, which is a large park with lakes, trails, picnic areas, and even driving range with a short game practice area, putting greens, and instructors if you want to work on your golf game. Speaking of golf, if that's important to you and it's part of your lifestyle, this is where West Lake Worth really separates itself. And look, country clubs are everywhere in Boca, but if you're not a member at one of them and you just want options to play public golf, you're kind of stuck. Honestly, based on my experience, this area has probably more public golf courses nearby than anywhere else in South Florida. And I say that because I've played all of them. Right in and around West Lake Worth, you've got courses like Winston Trails, Atlantic National, Palm Beach National, Point Siena, and just south in Boynton, you have Westchester, Links at Boynton, and Indian Springs. You've also got Okehili Golf Course, again with the 3 nines. Works whether you want a quick round or a full day. I like it there. For me, it's one of the better tracks. And then there's Park Ridge Golf Course, which is kind of unique because it was built on an old landfill, so it's actually hilly with elevation changes you don't usually see down here. You've also got Atlantis and Lake Worth Golf Course along the Intracoastal. Now, Lake Worth Golf Course is a bit underwhelming and there's no driving range to get warmed up, but it's still an option. And just north, you've got the Park, which is hands down the best public golf course in South Florida. I know this because I've played all of them. Now, just to put that into perspective, if you head further south into Boca Raton, public golf options are pretty limited. You've got places like Southwinds, Boca Golf and Racket, Boca Greens if you can snag a public tee time, Red Reef Golf Course, which is just a par 3, and Osprey Point out west, which is almost impossible to get a tee time at. Or you're driving to Deerfield to play Deer Creek, which, listen, I love Deer Creek. I hit a hole-in-one there, so I'm biased, but I'm also just pointing out the facts. Now here's a pro tip. If you're watching this and you love golf, go online and buy the Palm Beach County Frequent Player Card. It's $99 a year and it allows you to book tee times 14 days in advance. At Osprey Point, Park Ridge, Southwinds, and Okehili, the general public can only book a week in advance. So if you're serious about playing these courses, that card pays for itself at 2 or 3 rounds. So when it comes to public golf, this area is honestly elite. But probably the biggest reason families love West Lake Worth is how kid-focused the lifestyle is. There are options everywhere. You've got martial arts academies, dance studios, gymnastics programs, city-run sports leagues, and all kinds of camps, summer camps, holiday camps, sports camps, even golf and tennis camps. There are also art and creative programs that double as aftercare, where kids are picked up directly from school and taken there by bus. For working parents especially, that makes a big difference. Kids stay active, parents aren't scrambling every afternoon, and the day-to-day schedule just works better. When people say this area is family friendly, this is what they mean. And one thing I'll mention, because this comes up a lot in conversations with our client, is the people. The feedback we hear over and over and over again from people who live in West Lake Worth is that the neighbors are just nicer. And I'll say this carefully, there are certain parts of town, which I'll keep unnamed, where people tend to keep to themselves a little more and maybe aren't as friendly. But out here, it's different. People wave, they say hello, they actually talk to their neighbors. It feels warmer, more relaxed, almost like a small town vibe, just without the small town problems. You're not best friends with everyone on the block, but you're also not pretending you don't see each other at the mailbox. And listen, for a lot of families, that sense of community really matters. So that's the lifestyle, the parks, the golf, the kids' activities, the great neighbors. But the other big question people always ask us is, okay, but how close is everything? Because you can love the area, but if you're driving 30 minutes just to get groceries or go out to eat, that gets old pretty fast. This is where West Lake Worth's location really works in your favor. One of the things that really puts West Lake Worth in a unique position is where it sits geographically. You're kind of surrounded in the best way possible. To the south, you've got Boynton Beach. To the east, Lake Worth Beach. To the northwest, Wellington. And to the north, you have West Palm Beach. So when it comes to food, shopping, and things to do, you're not limited to just what's inside West Lake Worth itself. Even though there are options here, you're minutes from a lot of really good stuff in every direction. Let's start with food because I'm a huge foodie, and honestly, everything starts with food for me. Even when I travel, I don't plan trips around landmarks, I plan them around where I'm eating. If you head east towards the ocean, you've got to start with Benny's on the beach. That place is a landmark. It's right on the pier, literally over the water. It's one of those spots that just feels like South Florida. Then just south on Palm Beach Island, across from Palm Beach Resort and Spa, you've got Dune Deck Cafe, which gives you outdoor seating, ocean views, you hear the waves crashing. It's hard to beat. If you move a little more inland, you've got some old school staples that people love. Mom's Kitchen is a great example. Classic diner style, all homemade, no frills, just solid every time. Although I will say that the last few times I was there, it was hot inside, but I also like keeping my AC at 67, so who knows. If you're in the mood for pizza, you got plenty of options like Mamma Mia's Trattoria, and for straight New York style slices, you have spots like New York style pizza, Dominic's, NYPD Pizza, and Zio Joe's. If you're looking for an Italian sit-down, you have to check out Fiorella's, Rustico Italiano, and Cucina Moderna. One of my personal favorites is Old Key Lime House, which is an absolute classic. You're right on the water, it's casual, and it's always busy for a reason. The food isn't fancy, but it's really good, and it's always a great time. And if you're in the mood for Greek food, Chris Taverna is the best option. In Wellington, Kalou's is a go-to, and downtown Lake Worth, Oceano Kitchen and Lilo's street food and bar are both really popular. For tacos, Tacos El Carbone is always a solid move, although some would argue that it's overrated. You have a food truck and a sit-down restaurant next door, so you have options. And if you're in the mood for steak and Argentine food, Rancho Argentino is the real deal. With this area continuing to grow, more people moving in, more people discovering it, and all the new construction that's going up, the food and the restaurant scene has to keep up. So there's always something new popping up and more coming soon. As a matter of fact, there's a brand new Cooper's Hawk in Wellington that a lot of people have been excited about. It just opened and it's already turning into one of those easy date night or group dinner spots. And coming really soon, like within the next few months, is Lewis Prime Grill. This one's owned by the same family behind Okeechobee Steakhouse, but it's not a steakhouse. It's more upscale, casual, shareable plates, vibrant colors, fun design, kind of like a let's order a bunch of things and hang out type of place. It's not stuffy, not overly formal, just another solid option getting added to the mix. And that's really what you see happening out here. As the area grows, the options keep growing with it. When it comes to shopping, close by you've got the mall at Wellington Green. It's got all the stores, shopping, movies, casual dining. It's one of those places that kind of has everything in one spot. So a lot of people naturally end up here. In Central Boynton, you've got Renaissance Commons, which gives you a ton of restaurants and places to go out without having to head east or north. Further out in West Boynton, you've got Canyon Town Center, which has a ton of stores and restaurants as well. That whole area has really built up over the years, and across the street, they're building a massive commercial complex they're calling the District, which is 520,000 square feet of mixed use, which will also include indoor pickleball courts, a fitness center, a microbrewery with a tap room, amongst other things. And then along 441, you've got shopping centers everywhere and new ones popping up left and right with all the new construction that's going on. So whatever you need, it's close. And if you want Target, you've got a Target nearby. You've got 2 Whole Foods within a short drive. Publix is basically on every corner. You've got Aldi, you've got Trader Joe's, car washes everywhere, Starbucks, Dunkin', gyms, whatever you're looking for, it's not that far. And that's a big deal for families because most people don't want to drive all over the place just to get through their day. For the most part, families want everything within about 20 minutes, and that's exactly how this area functions. Honestly, I'd say this part of Palm Beach County was underdeveloped for a long time, but now they're really starting to build out both residential and commercial to keep up with the population growth. And that's why West Lake Worth feels like it's on fire right now. Now, if you found this helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us keep making content like this. And if you're serious about moving to West Lake Worth or anywhere in South Florida, we would love to help you figure out where you actually fit. I'm Jonathan. This is Live South Florida, and I'll see you in the next video.